Vocational schools teach students hands-on education in different areas, and the Lower Pioneer Valley Educational Collaborative is no exception. They have a childcare facility that gives students that combination of learning and hands-on experience. The Lower Pioneer Valley Early Learning Center is also the first multi-age classroom in Western Mass where kids from 6 weeks to 6 years old are not separated like they usually are. And here to talk about the benefits of this for the students and the kids themselves, we have Beth Fleury, who is the director and the lead teacher, along with Kristina Juzyn, who is an instructor at the Early Learning Center. Ladies, thank you so much for coming on board and talking to me about this. This is a brand new setup. I mean, you guys are in your first year, so we're right off the bat going into this. How did this come about? Where did the idea come from, and how did it get all started?
Actually, the idea came from our director and principal at the Lower Pioneer Valley Career Tech, and he ran with he thought about it, ran with it, was excited about it, and able to actually accomplish what he wanted to within such a small time frame for something this this large, to start a child care program, to get it into the Chapter 74 piece as far as the high school, having high school students. So he was the initial person, and they formed an advisory committee, and the advisory committee got met several times throughout the year preceding June, when they started doing going through the hiring process. And so they were received grants. They really worked toward getting this open, and they did, and very quickly, considering. So they hired during July. They did interviewing and hired everyone to do the program. We have myself, and then Jenny, who's a lead teacher with me in the classroom, and then Kristina, and her clinical assistant is Amber. So there's 4 of us that do the high school portion along with the children's.
Now, normally when you think of a vocational school, you're not thinking of a child care facility, a daycare. You're thinking culinary arts or a salon or automotive or something else. So this is a different venue, and it gives a lot of opportunities for these students. It
does. That was what was so exciting. It's very different in the multi-age aspect of it. It's the first one in Western Mass, so any questions we even come up with, as far as anybody we speak with in EEC, or Early Education and Care for the state, a lot of times we'll that's a good question. It's so new. So what we want to make it something that's a model program for others to follow. And so what we're doing is really trying to use best practices, do what we're, the best that we can do, and follow the state's standards.
Now we're going to get into the multi-age level, because you guys combine 6-week olds all the way up to 6 years old, and that's often, you don't see that often, so we're going to get into that. But first, I want to get to you, Kristina. It's so brand new. How does it feel? You're out there instructing, you're out there teaching. How's that feeling going?
It's been really exciting to see the kids' reactions, the students. The students are so excited to get started. It's a 3-year program, so students can start either as freshmen or as sophomores. So the way vocational, I don't know how familiar you are with vocational, there's an aspect of exploring. So they choose several different shops to go through an exploratory period to see how they fit. So for our freshmen, they choose 5 different shops and spend 3 weeks in each of those shops to get a really good feel for what they're going to be expecting, the workload, the homework, the hands-on, all of that type of stuff. So our freshmen are still exploring. We've had 4 rounds so far with 8 students in each round, 1 more round to go after this. So we've had almost 50 students come through exploratory. For the sophomores, if they come in as sophomores, they choose 3, and then they explore those 3 shops for 3 weeks. And we have 2 that have chosen us permanently that are now our permanent students, working in the childcare center with the little ones and doing their classroom stuff. So it's been fast-paced and really exciting. It's been exciting for us, and it's been really exciting to see the excitement on the students' faces, and they're just really gung-ho.
And that's so exciting to see, especially because this is so brand new. We were talking about that. You just had your open house just last week. When was it?
Last week, last Tuesday night, we had an open house, and turnout was wonderful. So right now we have 2 children. So we can have up to 10. So we're looking for those other 8, and it was a great open house. There was a lot of interest, and we're hopeful that that we'll get to that 10 very quickly.
Absolutely, and I'm sure as people find out that this is around, this is available, people will want to take advantage of this opportunity. Now, another very interesting aspect of this is the multi-age element here. You're having children from 6 weeks to 6 years old all in that same setting, and you don't often see that. Why is this important for you guys?
Well, it's important in the sense that it offers the high school students the opportunity to work with each age group, infants, toddlers, and preschoolers. So then they have the ability to be certified teachers as long as they fulfill the hours necessary. They've had that interaction and filled those hours through with infants and toddlers and preschoolers. So they have a little bit more of an opportunity there. And it also, it just makes for a more well-rounded teacher in the long run. You know,
that's what I was going to ask you, Kristina. What is the benefits? How does that help these students that are learning with all these different age groups?
I think one of the benefits is everybody has an age group that they really, really love, and one that they just don't necessarily feel as comfortable with. For me, it was always infants and toddlers, and that's happened to be where I started out when I was doing my training. And then when they said, okay, do some field work in the preschool, you figure, piece of cake, I've been working with kids for a couple years now, whole different ball game. Yeah. And for me, I didn't really get to interact with kids until I was in college, and that's what led me to do my degree. And these kids get to do this beforehand. They get to do this during high school. A lot of them come in knowing they want to be teachers. Others know they want to work with kids in some capacity. We've had several that they know they want to be in the medical field, but they know they want to work with kids too. So there's been sort of the pull between health assisting and EEC and which is going to be more beneficial. But I think the most important part is even during exploratory, they get some hands-on experience. They get to see kids, they get to hear them, they get to interact a little bit. And that's really what pushes you one way or the other. I've had students that come in and say, I'm just exploring this because I need to pick 5 shops and this sounds better than another shop I might go into. And then they leave saying, I think I might come back. This was better than I expected. And then you get the exact opposite, where people say, I really thought this is what I wanted to do, and then it got a little overwhelming and maybe it's not for me. So it's fantastic to be able to have that experience at 14, 15.
And the other nice thing too is even if they're doing the exploratory, they're learning, someday they're going to have little ones in their lives. Either they'll be aunts, uncles, moms, dads. There are going to be children in their lives. And this gives them some of the skills that will really benefit them, you know, in the future. Whether they choose us or not, it's still in some form going to benefit them.
And it's not just benefiting the students as they're learning and getting that hands-on education, it's also benefiting the kids themselves, although you normally wouldn't think, oh, it's good to put a 6-week-old with a 6-year-old, but it's also helping maybe some siblings that shouldn't be separated. Talk about the benefits that it's presenting for the children.
There are several. I mean, as you just said, there's siblings that for different, variety of reasons might need to be together, whether they're going through some emotional turmoil at home, or there's just circumstances that sometimes would be more beneficial for them to stay together. And in your center-based program, most of the time they're split up as far as you have infant classroom, toddler classroom, and preschool classroom. And so they arrive at the program together and then they're pulled apart, and that can be traumatic for them. So this enables them to be together in the same classroom and to still have that bond and look out for each other. And it really is something that emotionally is a benefit to them.
Were there any safety concerns? I immediately think in my mind, oh, a 6-year-old is going to be rambunctious, running around and kind of pushing things out of the way. Or have you guys kind of...
We do. We've set the classroom up. It's a large classroom, and it's set up just as most classrooms are, in 2 centers with a variety of activities throughout the classroom. However, we did make sure that, where you have the cribs for the infants, around another area is just our library and our cozy corner, and anything that's more quiet and softer and less activity will be taking place. We put that near that area. And then as you filter away from the quiet area in the library, then you start getting to your blocks and your dramatic play and your art activities. So we really set it up with all that in mind. And even in each center, we need a variety of materials so that you have your toddlers that are going to have different needs than your preschoolers. And we still need to have those materials accessible to each age group. So we have certain things that are in boxes, in the clear boxes, but the lids are more difficult to get off. So they're accessible for the preschooler and less likely that the toddler will get into them.
So you do have safety.
Hear them.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
So you have certain precautions put in place just because you do have all those children in a wide open space. Well, as the children grow up and get bigger, and as your organization grows and it gets bigger, I know you guys are in your first year, so I'm sure you guys are going to get bigger and bigger as more students come on board. It's got to be exciting. So thank you, ladies, Mary Beth and Kristina, for talking to us about this.
Thank you.